Hey guys, welcome back to the Lit Mag Lab podcast. I'm Jazz Marie, aka Vevna Forrow. So previously on the podcast, I was showing you around Scrawl Place, right? And that is a literary magazine, or I should say journal, right, that focuses on travel writing. And it's very cool. So be sure to listen back to that episode. Again, you can watch what I'm sharing on my screen out on YouTube, Spotify, and elsewhere. Yeah. Today we're going to do another spotlight coverage episode, yes, on Polyphony Lit. So you may see that on the screen. That is spelled Polyphony and then lit Lit, right? So I'm on the Chill Subs page right now, but let's hop over to their website so you can see it right here, yeah? And I'll come back to this in a little bit, but I just want to do the usual stat breakdown and read a little bit about it for you guys, and then we'll go into some of the guidelines and not every single section of the site, but I'll just do a quick tour of it and their calls, and yeah, so you can learn more about them. And I haven't covered, to date, any student run lit mags journals. So I thought, yeah, this it's time to focus on one that, highlights, the work of high school students, right? Because I think that's really awesome. So yeah, let's head over to Chill Subs here. So this is their Chill Subs page. Now, again, just a reminder, right? And we go to the stats page. This isn't like the how many have ever submitted to them, since the beginning of time, since they are open. This is just, again, the how many use chill subs to track their decision, right? So over time, this could change all the stats and stuff, but Polyphony Lit has been around since 2004, guys, as you can see here. So they've been around for 21 years. So that's by no means, the how many, acceptances they've sent out or anything like that, under stats. But yeah, it looks like just based off of chill substats, it's showing a 66.67 acceptance rate. Again, that may not be entirely accurate because not everyone, of course, tracks through chill subs, right? There are trackers elsewhere, right? I shared in this podcast, right? Yeah. With a duotrope and duosuma, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's amazing, right? Polyphony Lit has been a long-standing literary magazine, or I should say literary platform, as it says here, totally. And it's not easy, for lit magazine journals to be around that long, for several decades. I think that's really stellar. Again, 21 years, guys. So yeah, I'm just going to read the summary they have on Chill Sub. So I think it does a pretty good overview, and it mirrors the site, obviously. So I'm going to quote this off for you guys here. Polyphony Lit is a global online literary platform dedicated to high school students, offering opportunities to submit creative writing. Join the editorial staff, write blog posts, participate in workshops, and assume leadership roles. Central to its mission is the development of young writers, with editors providing feedback on every submission. The magazine hosts a series of seasonal contests throughout the year, including the summer contest, fall contest, winter contest, and heritage focused contests such as the Latin Heritage and Native American Heritage Contest, Black History Contest, Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Contest, and Pride Contest. These contests are open to high school students aged 14 to 18 worldwide, with specific submission periods and guidelines. Winners receive publication in the annual volume, eligibility for the Claudia Ann Seaman Awards, editorial feedback, and scholarships for Polyphony Lit's editorial training courses. So yeah, the Claudia Ann Seaman Award. So that's I'm just gonna spell it out for you guys. So CLAUDIAANNSEAMAN. So the Claudia Ann Seaman Awards for Young Writers was established in memory of a young poet, acknowledging excellence in teen writing across poetry, fiction, and creative nonfiction. Nominees are selected from accepted works, with winners chosen by a panel of professional authors to receive cash awards and honorable mentions. Polyphony Lit also offers an editorial training course open to high school and college students, teaching skills in editing, poetry, fiction, and creative nonfiction. The self paced course costs $99 with group discounts available, and completion qualifies participants to join the editorial staff or start their own literary magazine. The magazine's impact is highlighted through testimonials such as Alex, I'm going to mess up names, I apologize, Colt Lowitz, Kotlowitz, Kotlowitz, praise, Yeah, so it says here, just quoting that, Polyphony is a fine and eclectic collection of prose and poetry. It's like nothing else around. It's like a Paris review for the young, daring, provocative, exhilarating, and just plain fun. Polyphony Lit's commitment to fostering diverse and inclusive literary community is evident in its range of contests, workshops, and editorial opportunities, all designed to nurture the talents of young writers and editors worldwide. So that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. The course, the self-paced course sounds very cool. I mentioned this on the podcast. I can't remember which exact episode it was, but earlier in the Q&A portion of the series, I was talking about how some lit magazine journals facilitate workshops or courses for others to attend. Some of them are virtual, some of them are on site, or a mix of both. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, so I'll come back maybe to the industry rankings and these collections here for you guys. And yeah, but again, there's no fee. It says here they do publish reprints, and the response time is averaging, it looks like, between 180, 198 days, so let's head over to the website for you guys. Yeah, I think I have a tab up already. So yeah, this is Polyphony Lit site. Now, real quick, guys, do you know what polyphony means? Do you? Because I was like, what does that mean? I was trying to remember. Like my memory was really fuzzy, and I was like, I should know this, right? I should know what polyphony means. So I think if you go out to Wikipedia or just online, if you do a quick search, right, I'm quoting this, is a type of musical texture consisting of two or more simultaneous lines of independent melody, as opposed to a musical texture with just one voice. Monophony, or a texture with one dominant melodic voice accompanied by chords. Homophony. So, yeah, I think that's really interesting. I, I did take, classes in music when I was younger, right? I shared this podcast in band, but I was like, I should know that. I should know that, right? We all hear about symphony and other stuff like that. And I was like, why can't I remember what it means? So yeah, just sharing, because some lit magazine journals have pretty unique names, and them have shared the meanings behind it too. But I was just looking up the definition of polyphony, and yeah, so this is the website here. Let's check it out. So you can see the course here is stating that again. Very cool website. The slider here, and yeah, you can see here it says celebrating 20 years, right? So they're on, it's 2025 now, so 2021 years. That's really cool. They have everything laid out here. You can see in the carousel, right? It's a submit work, and yeah, it says work and train as a literary editor, summer 2026. Registrations open. So that's really cool. I think this is, Polyphony Lit, based on what I'm seeing, is providing a wonderful way to give, young writers, high school students exposure to the literary arts world. And running a lit mag and journal and editing poetry, there are a lot of fundamental skills that come from that, and it takes time to really grasp that. I think offering advice, courses, or centralized training around that, bite-sized format, right, self-paced is nice, right? Everyone has their own pace of learning too, so I think that's really wonderful that Polyphony that does that. And it's a reasonable price, right? They're not charging $2,000. Some college courses on editing and things like that, right? There's several $1,000s or several hundred, for attending a couple hours. So I think that's nice that it's really not too bad, right? The self-paced course, it says, I think it said, Joseph said $99, but I think they're on the site, if we go back here on the carousel, 149. That's still not too bad, considering, let me see where it is. Yeah, self-paced course 149. So again, under, $200. I think that's a great amount still. Not too bad, 149. Again, some courses, on editing, or and things like that in the literary arts world, or anything tied to that particularly, can be very expensive. So I think that's nice, and there's also, they mentioned opening the door for opportunities, right, to, they seem to really, have a great staff of, again, student run high school students, worldwide, right, that worldwide. So I think that's really awesome. So let's take a look. I'm just going to tour their site a little bit and scroll down. I think I have a pop up here. So yeah, but yeah, I just meant in the menu. It was sort of hanging there for a little bit. But So yeah, the current volumes here, they have a nice website layout, very interactive and engaging. So yeah, publications by friends of Polyphony Lit, that's great that they feature that. You can meet their editors here and their high school students. Obviously, I won't scroll through all the photos here, but you can, look through that and in your downtime. If you check out the website, I'll drop links to it. But yeah, they have a lot of really really cool stuff happening, it looks like here. So yeah, they I think I saw Love in the Time of Banned Books and things like that. So let's check out the submission guidelines. I'm just curious what that looks like. So yeah, I'm not going to cover every single contest guideline here, but you can see here they have a cover art window, right? So there is actually a cover art window. That's why I like checking the website too. I think if you go on Chill Subs, it says always open, but it's showing, the schedule here specifically on their website. So that's good. And they also, again, have a duotrope listing. Duotrope, again, is another way to find calls, to learn more about Lit Mag Journal's guidelines. I think they also have, let me go over here for you guys. So on Duotrope, they actually have an editor, or not editor, but an executive director interview, right? Polyphony Lit. I think this really is helpful. Reading these interviews again, like I shared, Scroll Plays had an interview Chill Subs. You can learn more about what a lit magazine journal is looking for, and just I think it's a lot of fun to do that too. You can see here there were questions asked back then, about 5 years ago, right? What sets the publication apart from others that publish similar material? So again, I think that this is really unique, right? This here. They give in-depth feedback to all submissions, including those they reject for publication, which is about 94% of all submissions. And their editorial board, it says here, this is from 2020. So it says their editorial board is comprised of more than 300 teens from around the world who volunteered to join them. They have again that how to be a literary editor, right? So I think that's awesome. And then they go into advice, submitting work to the publication again, write with intent, consider craft and precision and proofread, right? That was from Katie Scullion, the executive director, back from 2020. I didn't read the staff masthead here for you guys, but I think I typically check the website because sometimes these, chill subs has to be updated by a member of the Lit Manger Journal, typically, right? Editor. So, yeah, David Galloway, it's saying here, is the editor in chief, operations manager Sean Waterman, and then the managing director. Looks like the current one is Julian. I could be mispronouncing that name. I apologize. Rico Bon or Ricobin. Ricobin. So I could be mispronouncing that name. I apologize. But yeah, again, they're on the fish list 222 of 1,830. I have an episode covering fish list too, if you don't know what that is. Yeah, they appear again in collections of 35 lit mags that publish writers under 18 years old. I know I said I wasn't going to cover the list and come back, but might as well now. 9 online lit mags that are, again, 15 plus years old. So, yeah. So, that's really great. The vibe, we're just chilling here. So, yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to the website. So again, they have a specified cover art window here on Chill Subs, right? It says always open. That's not necessarily true. Places do have windows designated typically, so it's always good to double check that. And yeah, so it says cover art here, June 2nd to 2025 to May 31st, 2026. So yeah, summer contests, right? They have their deadlines, all the contests I mentioned, right? I think that's really great that they have a diverse contest list, right? We have a winter contest, pride contest, Asian and Pacific Islander heritage contest, yeah, Latin and Native American heritage contest, a fall contest, all of that. I think that's really great. I don't see a lot of lit mags and journals have that many contests, and designated windows for that. That's really tough to maintain and to keep on top of, but that's awesome. Yeah. And then they have notes on the volumes, and instead of holding a regular call for submissions, it says a host of series of seasonal contests, right? So yeah, it looks like that's going to carry over into 2026 of June here. Yeah, so it says, yeah, it says there will be a $4 submission fee for additional submissions. So there is a fee for additional submissions. It looks like for some of the contest here, only the top 3 winners for each contest will receive feedback from their editorial staff. So yeah, they do have a different structure on feedback for their contest. That seems fair, because it's really tough to give feedback on every single submission, But I love that Polyphony Lit strives to do that. It says here, just a note, right? During this time, I'm quoting this, their editorial staff will work to provide detailed feedback on a large number of submissions from volume 19 and 20. It says they are overwhelmed and delighted at the same time by the sheer number of submissions, and writing constructive feedback to each and every submitter from volume 19 and 20 requires time, care, and attention. And yeah, they said they believe it's their responsibility to provide responses to all authors. So yeah, they absolutely take the time. It says here for, above the contest portion, right? Anything that's not in the top, of, three winners of the contest there, don't receive feedback. But, from the volume and issues, right, it looks like they absolutely are, providing feedback and being very thorough on that. I don't know what the feedback looks like. Obviously, I'm not, in high school or a student, so I haven't submitted to Polyphony Lit or anything like that. I don't know of anyone who has. Nevertheless, I think this is very cool that they're doing this, because it takes time to do that again, and they're going out the way to do that. I personally, with the Lit Magazine Journal I run myself, right, I have done in the past some paid feedback options, and a mix between audio and typed feedback, and now we're restructuring that to a little bit, right? So we discontinued reading fees at my Lit Magazine Journal. This summer, and yeah, so we needed something to offset. We used to have a second time or more, right, with a fee too, but it discontinued that because I hate fees. But I think, giving others to pay for additional feedback, it helps. We put it towards the publication and stuff. But I think what they're doing is really awesome. Going out of their way to give detailed feedback, the best they can, to help writers grow and improve. Because by getting a standard, obviously, it's hard for a lot of lit magazine journals to give detailed feedback for every single submission, but they again learn and grow from that, especially younger writers, right? They can improve their next submission, or even if they take that work somewhere else, they have a understanding of like where the lit magazine journal is coming from in terms of their decision. And I think oftentimes, again, you get basically a simple plain letter, right, and it doesn't state anything at all. It leaves a lot of question marks for the submitter. So I think it's nice to have some sort of feedback option. If you have the time to do it, absolutely, I think you should try. To totally, if you need help to do that, facilitate volunteers, facilitate a staff like they do, right? You can. I've seen some lit magazine journals, and we're doing this too. We're going to start to share reader comments, right? Share reader comments, or give an option to disclose reader comments and scoring, even, and where the decision came from a little bit. It won't be the same as detailed feedback options we have, but to share reader comments, right? I've seen that from other lit magazine journals too. They're like, reader one said this, reader two said this, reader three thought this initially. And it's not necessarily several pages long of detailed feedback, but just brief initial comments that came to mind of like where the decision came from a little bit. Perhaps it includes one or two things that could improve, too. But detailed feedback, I think, goes a little bit thorough, right, into, how to, think about, maybe it's something in your beginning, your middle, your end, or the construction or word choices, right? In either case, yeah, I think it's really cool what Polyphony Lit is doing here. Yeah, because I know a lot of lit magazine journals, they don't really do this. They don't go through every single submission and give feedback. There are some that do. Polyphony Lit's not the only one, but I haven't seen like like several thousands do that. But off the top of my head, I can't name one that really does that, has done that for like 30, 40, 50 years or 2 decades or something. So yeah, above there you can see it says, interested in becoming an editor for Polyphony Lit, take their editorial training course. So let's click on this. I don't know if it's a separate page or it goes to summer workshops here. So yeah, this is different, right? So I think on Chill Subs, right, it was saying $99, so that's not accurate. Again, it was saying right, $149 for their self-paced course, right? This is different. Their summer workshops. So it looks like Polyphony Lit is running workshops, and I think that really helps, right, with their supporting the publication and keep it going. So it looks like it's summer editing apprenticeship and SEA, right? You can see supporters $549 and $449. Standard discounts $349. Yeah, supporter $549, standard $449, discount $349. So yeah, so this is an apprenticeship, so it's a different, right, from, right, I think they're self-paced edit how to become a literary editor course, right? So yeah, this is more sort of an apprenticeship and really getting, hands on, right? And yeah, so training as a literary editor. So yeah, I think that's awesome that they do that. They have a breakdown of the session here. Let's click into that. I don't know what that entails. So it takes you out to a Word doc here. That's really cool. And it tells you like how the class is structured and the live lecture dates and everything. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And then it has the schedule and everything laid out. So yeah, I obviously won't, read the whole thing or anything, but you can check this out if you're interested. If you're, in high school or listening to this episode, or you know someone who's interested in maybe, getting in dabbling into the lit mag or journal space and wants experience in it, this might be a good way to do so. Again, they have, I think this is again different from their self-paced course. And then, they have this apprenticeship, higher workshops, right, or higher tiered lectures and stuff. So yeah, it's still, I think, reasonable, considering, you're getting, actual experience, right, in the field. It's something you could put on your resume. It's something you could put towards, future job applications and say, I did this apprenticeship and I learned all of this from it, right? You can show that to your, future employer or for your interview process and say, I did this, I have this experience under my belt, and take it from there, right? You can use the skills you there and translate it into, a job, right? A salary job one day, and it can be really great. I myself haven't done any apprenticeship jobs. I did have, I come from an IT background. I did have an IT internship, and that was, a paid internship, and I had a really cool experience, right? I ended up, coming full time, into that the help desk, right? And my internship, was sort of cut short because team members left, and then I was like offered a full time position, and it was scary. I was like really scared, even with my internship prior to that. And I learned a lot, totally. I learned so much and really got to, absorb knowledge from team members and stuff. So, whether it be an internship or apprenticeship, whatever, you're going to learn a lot. It's going to teach you something. And if you don't like it, if you don't like it, it may happen, right? That happens. You can change your mind. But, going through an apprenticeship, I would say if you're going to take up a program or course, and it's something you're really interested in, go all the way. It may be tough, it may be, but complete. I don't know what the whole, I haven't read what their apprenticeship entails from full, but obviously they have a breakdown really thorough in those looks like their Google Docs there and other stuff. So that's really nice. Very, very detailed outlines here. Everything's very clear from what I'm seeing, training and the work, right? So it says here, 4 to 5, in weeks 4 to 5, you work as a junior editor, responding to 2 editorial assignments from active Polyphony Lit submissions per week. Apprentices will receive feedback on every assignment, conference with mentors to discuss. It says conference with a mentor to discuss interest, feedback, and areas of focus. So that's great. They sort of give you a mentorship and stuff like that, and really, one-on-one there, it looks like. And, learning outcomes, it's all broken down here. Yeah. So it says they do offer, I think, discounts to families in need. So that's great that they're willing to, do the discount, right? $349 there. And, others who can't afford the cost, I think it says, they it looks like they have some accommodations there, so that's nice, right? Not everyone can afford workshops and courses and things like that, but I think this is great that they offer this, that they're facilitating this and teaching others more about the what goes into editing. And yeah, so yeah, then if they end up liking it, right, it looks like they can even um participate, possibly based maybe on their performance and how they do in the apprenticeship, right? Join the staff long term, maybe, and ongoing, right? I think that's great. Yeah. And of course, there's no guarantee of promotion and stuff like that, and stuff like that, or guarantee to joining, I think. But it says historically, it says 10% of their junior editors earn promotion to genre editor and executive editor. So that's great. Some have totally, stuck with Polyphony Lit and gone on to other roles. So yeah, that's just an example, right? If you just like, even if you start as a reader as a lit manual journal, and let's say you stick it out for 3, 4, 5 years for that publication, you have to really express interest. If they don't have things like this structured, right, like a workshop or apprenticeship or anything, you have to really express interest that you want to take on new tasks, you want to grow and gain more experience. um, I try to invite others, if my lit mag journal, say, hey guys, are you interested in doing this? Do you want to partake? I need help with this. Is anyone interested? To let them help and to dive in. They also learn from other team members on the Lit Manga Journal, right? They catch things that maybe they didn't realize. It could be in terms of like editing, right? And we learn from each other. We grow. It's teamwork dynamic is important on a literary magazine. Of course, there's solo editors and stuff. I started Deputy Lit Mag solo myself, right? But I think I like the whole team dynamic aspect of that. I'm just, coming from someone who's worked on teams and stuff. I've tackled things and products by myself, a bunch of tickets and, all kinds of stuff in the IT world. But having a team is nice, right? You don't feel so alone. You can, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I have a question. Can I ask you this? Don't be afraid to ask questions in the Lit Mag world, especially if you're going to do an apprenticeship or anything like that. I think it's so important, right? Yeah, these live lectures they do are recorded. It looks like a Polyphony Lit and really cool. So I think it's great, offering courses, classes, apprenticeships. This is really great to see. It's also a wonderful way for lit magazine journals, right? If you start one, whether it be online or not, to or online or also in print, to offset costs, right? To put it towards the publication, to put that towards contests and awards. I saw something the other day, by the way. Maybe I'll come across it here. But Polyphony Lit had, when I was on their website the other day, they had this cool thing where they were, I think it was doing custom poetry. I could be wrong, but they were raising funds and doing custom poems. I think I could be wrong, but I think I saw that. And they have sometimes occasional pop ups and stuff on events when you visit the site for the first time. I clicked out of one, and I think it was tied to a workshop or a class or something. But anyways, that's awesome. So yeah, what else? Oh, so they have this really cool, let me see if I can find it for you guys. Um they have I think an impact report. Maybe oh yeah, there it is, about its impact report. So this is really nice. I don't see a lot of lit magazine journals have an impact report, so this is great. It's a huge breakdown, right? So it says here, right? And maybe I can open this up for you guys. Let me see. Yeah, so you can see it on the screen a little bit better. The impact report, it's public to view, so I'm gonna take the time to share it with you guys. Just taking a little bit to load here. Yeah. So it says here the number of submissions editors have given line and general feedback, 24,178 guys. And that says I think this is counting 2024 up to that point, right? So it's 2025 now, so this is probably higher. But number of country submissions have come from 84. It says 834 students successfully completing their online How to Be a Literary Editor course since it launched in 2019. That's amazing. And 27 is the number of countries their editors have come from. 100% of scholarship requests, it says here, to take editorial training granted. Oh yeah, so they have scholarship requests, so that's nice. Yeah, so they are totally accommodating to others, who are interested in taking the course and understanding their situation, because again, not everyone can afford courses and stuff. Everyone's, in terms of like, is very tight, budget wise and stuff. I think that's really great that they do scholarships and discount programs and stuff like that. Yeah, discount options. So 19 is the number of volumes of the best teen writing from around the globe published. And yeah, that's really cool. So I love this impact report. I think I wish I could make one like this. Who knows? We may make one like this. I just haven't been able to, just with so many things going on. I'm doing the series and doing other things, and I was trying to do a relaunch of my own lit mag journal. So I love this though. I've seen another lit mag journal. Maybe I'll cover it on this podcast. They have an impact report of some kind of their numbers and stuff and their stats. So I think this is really great, because if like submitter comes across this, they're like, wow, this is, all of the submissions they receive, this is how they really care. They take the time to put all the metrics and stats together. I think it helps others give an idea of like what to expect, right? And maybe high school students especially, maybe they don't look at the impact report particularly, but they can see, maybe it's their parents or something. They're like, maybe, of course, maybe they're asking their parents, like, hey, mom or dad or folks, I don't know. Um, I'm interested in taking this course and I really like this place. They have this really nice apprenticeship or course and I'm interested. Not every high school student maybe can, outright have pocket money themselves for this. So maybe their family, right? They go to and they tell them and they can maybe show them this impact report. They can show them, see that editors have totally, or I mean, those who go through their courses, their training have, to see their journey and how they progress. I think it's great to see examples and a breakdown. The more details the better, right? I think in terms of this, and that's really helpful, and scholarships, right? I think that's really great. So yeah, worldwide, right? Around the world of poetry in 80 days here. So they had a student-led project conceived, managed by teens who met during the summer apprenticeship. That's really nice. Yeah. And yeah, it says here some, absolutely they poured their heart into it and gave it their all. I think again, how much feedback they've given is really stellar. That's something I think a lot of lit magazine journals could really work towards giving feedback. Yeah, there are quite a few places that do paid feedback and stuff, but I think till today a lot of places don't give feedback, right? Detailed feedback for free or anything off the bat. So I think that's really nice. Yeah, and they have projects, tied to current events. It looks like and time and at times, and yeah. So so yeah, they've done surveys and other things. I'm not going to go through the entire report here, but I think they have issue covers too, so you can see, right? And I think these are also available in I went out, they have Amazon linked out here, right? So yeah, that's really cool. So the issues here, and they look like they're reasonably priced. Yeah, not too bad. That's awesome. So I think I saw one was 92 pages. There was 164 pages. So this is, I think, the one from spring 2025, volume 20. And yeah, yeah. So let's go back to the website. I'm gonna exit out of the impact report, but you can read it further if you're interested. I think I just had their submittable page up too. So yeah, this is their submittable page. So if you click on, one of their submit work buttons, it'll take you out here. Reminders again on the deadlines and the windows notes they have. That's great. And yeah, oh yeah, it says cover art submissions will remain open on a rolling basis here. That's great. Yeah. So high school students again, age 14, 18, from anywhere in the world, right? Very inclusive. They're, global reach. And yeah. Says submit no more than 3 pieces per year. Submission year begins in July and ends following April. Original works only. Works must be written in English unless it specifies otherwise. Yeah, it says if you're submitting multiple pieces, upload separate submissions. Multiple pieces submitted in a single document will be withdrawn and you'll be asked to resubmit. Yeah, they accept simultaneous submissions and work that has been published elsewhere. If submitting previous published work, it says send a message in submittable noting where your work has been published and if it is eligible for republication. Yeah, and you have to just, let them know if it's been accepted elsewhere, and yeah. It says previous published pieces are not eligible for the Claudia Ann Seaman Awards, though. Length poetry must be 80 lines or less. Fiction and creative nonfiction must be 1,800 words or less. Do not put your name on the piece. All work is blind jury. That's great. So they do blind concealed reads of cover letters and stuff. It looks like, or name. They don't want any identifying information inside, right? And yeah. Then it says they have preference, right? Typical of lit magazine journals, right? 12 point times New Roman. Yeah, flushed left unless in letter format, right? Margins even. They use submittable again. So yeah, we again moved to subfolio, but submittable is again widely used in the lit mag journal community. If you're interested in submission management systems, again, I have a breakdown of it, a few episodes, and also a guide out there on comparing various ones out there. But yeah. So it says if you submit a revision of a piece that they've already reviewed, you have to put REV in the title. Yeah, there's no fee to submit. So I think that's nice. Not a lit magazine journal specified that. So submitting revisions, I think that's a nice touch there. REV, that's actually a great thing. We don't do that necessarily ourselves. I think that's a great note though, for lit magazine journals, to have some sort of identifier. Like, what if they resubmit the piece in the past, right? Is there anything they can do? So something we have capability with our new submission man system. There is a tag thing we have where we could possibly have. We just moved and changed things, and we're relaunching things. So I think like a tag. I'm sharing something with you guys. So a tag that says this is a revision, right? So we could probably just have them choose the tag. This is a revised piece, but otherwise, others could type it out right in the title, obviously, after the title as, I think that's nice. Great note there. Yeah, so additional guidelines for creative nonfiction. So yeah, it says, they look for creative nonfiction pieces that are written in the style of short personal memoirs. They are looking for pieces that are informal, flexible in form, and most importantly, personal. Personal discovery is the keystone of a personal essay. Self revelation, human pieces, humor, and flexibility of form are all aspects that they look for. They do not look for op ed pieces, critical analysis, research papers, or academic essays. And of course, they give examples of work, right, to read. And they have some examples. Let's see what one of the examples looks like. I don't know what. Oh, so this is what it looks like. So yeah, one of their examples here, creative nonfiction. Yeah. So that's great that they have examples linked out. Not a lot of places do that. They're like, here are 3 examples we want you to look at. Now, Chill Subs has a place where editors can put examples to or read work right to linked out. But that's nice that they put it in submittable or reminders here. I love seeing reminders. It really helps others because I forget things myself all the time. If I were to submit to a place, not I can't submit to Polyphony Lit myself, but I'm saying it helps to have reminders in general. So yeah, I can't submit again because I'm like in my 30s, guys. So, but I was having memories of like my high school writing and my journey there. I have something to share with you guys too after I go through this here. I like read. I won't read every single guideline they have, but yeah, they have art qualifications here, so that's great. Very detailed on the file, and the T-shirt art winner gets, it looks like $150 and a free T-shirt featuring a design. So yeah, some great cash awards and stuff totally that they do. If we scroll down here, you can see the guidelines again are expanded. They have, a theme for the contest, something left behind for 2025 summer contest. Looks like that's closing out September 30th of this month. Volume 22, cover art. That one closes out next year, May 31st. So plenty of time if you're interested and you meet the age requirements here again, 14 to 18, right? Interested if you're interested. Latin and Native American Heritage Contest, and yeah. So yeah, again, there is submissions to the contest. This one is free, right? I think again it just says additional submissions have a fee, right? So that's the only thing. Still not too bad. I think that's great. I'm not gonna log in here. I think I accidentally clicked on that. Actually, guys, I lied. I actually clicked in a bit further to the submit work you know, submittable, I meant call one of them, the Latin and Native American Heritage Contest 2025. So I was just curious what the fields they require here, like what their form looks like, because every Lit Mag and Journals form fields, whether it be submittable or even like with us at Dippy Lit Mag Subfolio, right, or even Dual Summa, right, whichever submission management system a place is using. The form fields are a little bit different, like the setup. So you always want to double check before submitting, right, that there's no fees, right, or anything like that, because I showed examples in the submittable episode on this podcast of some lit magazine journals that had some bizarre form field setups, right? But I love what Polyphony Lit has here. They have the required fields, very clear, right? Title, genre, and optional, guys, love this. Optional, additional $5 to support them, right? Yeah, and it is optional. So again, Polyphony Lit, it says here is an IRS registered 501c3 nonprofit. All donated funds go directly to support their mission of providing detailed feedback and educational opportunities to high school writers around the globe. Yeah. So it says here just an agreement again, and yeah, subscribing to their email list. So yeah, you can unsubscribe anytime, and yeah, just some reminders here on their terms and agreements. And confirming whether or not the piece is previously published. If it was previously published, right, then you just leave it blank, the checkbox. Yeah, you just want to be upfront about that, totally. I love the reminders in here. Not every place has these confirmations and agreements, but it's structured a little bit differently every place you come into contact with. But of course, title and genre is pretty standard, and some optional, right, tips. There should never be required, right, tips or required donations. If it's going to be an outright fee for a contest or call or submission fee, right, just state that, but nothing like in terms of like I showed you on this podcast. Some places had some, you know they were saying required tips and stuff. That doesn't make sense, right? And it was just bizarre. So yeah, love that that's optional and stuff, and just a reminder that you can donate to them and it'll help them out. So yeah, always good when a lit magazine journal is upfront about that, like where funds are going and that it's optional, right? Donations and tips and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to cover every single call, or they have a lot, on their site for sure, but I just wanted to share it and take the time with you. So let's go under. I'm just going to click around the rest of the pages for you guys, maybe not read everything off. But yeah, it says if you spread the word, earn service hours, you can win prizes. So it says, you can win prizes like signed copies of books and a $500 gift card to bookshop.org, earn community service hours. So every task you complete by May 1st gets you an entry into a raffle. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, it says there's something here. Parents and students join our entrepreneurial committee. Puh, tongue tied today, guys. Entrepreneurial committee. And yeah, so this is new. I've never seen anything like this. So they have I mean, not new in the sense to belittle it, but this is something I haven't seen before at a lit manga journal. So ways to earn entries or service hours. So it says social media posts, one entry equals 0.5 service hours. Yeah, so it looks like I'm not gonna read all the details of this, but the second one is classroom display. Print the flyer and put it up on your English classroom. Number 3, community posting, 2 entries or 1 service hour. Put the flyer in a library, coffee shop, or teen friendly space. And then you just email them or tag them from some of these teacher and librarian outreach. So yeah, getting Polyphony Lit into more schools, that's great. And introducing it to librarians and teachers. Workshop sign up. Get a friend registered for their editor training workshop. 4 entries or 1.5 service hours. And then number 6, apprenticeship. I keep on just saying entrepreneurship now, guys. I'm so sorry. Number 6 is apprenticeship sign up, 4 entries or 1.5 service hours per sign up. Encourage a friend to join their summer editing apprenticeship. And then they have the flyer here, and yeah, you can get more service hours. It says parents can help too, so that's great. So I think that's a great way. They're having others, earn, cash prizes or awards here, right? That gift card, I think, and then they are sharing more. That's a great unique way to market the Polyphony Lit. I've never seen anything like that, so I think that's really nice. The structure, very very unique. Way to market Polyphony Lit a little bit more. Yeah, having others involved, both parents and others. Very cool, and students, yeah. So nice. Love that service hours, spread the word, community service hours plan. They have details lined out, right? Issues. So yeah, they have all their issues here. Again, that's great. Everything is laid out. They have a letter from the managing editor in advance. I love that that's there. Not all places put letters from editors or managing editors on the site, so that's great to see. The covers look very cool. They have the current volume. Let's go back. I just want to click through these for you guys so you can see. So look, not 2019, and yeah, you can see 2020 issues. We can go into these. They have the masthead for each issue, or whether the staff changed and stuff, or who was involved in it. I don't always click through staff and stuff and read about everyone. Of course, it would take some time if the team's fairly large or anything like that, but maybe I'll go in and click through a little bit more. So let's just go through these real quick. I just love seeing cover art, guys. Sorry. Very cool cover art. I love it. So again, I think these are from like their cover art calls. So very, very cool. Volume 19. Yeah, if you can't see what I'm saying on the video, or maybe check out Spotify or YouTube sometime or elsewhere. But yeah, I love the cover art. It looks very cool. Definitely. So, yeah, we have it looks like yeah, this one of flowers and butterflies and flower here. Yeah, that's really nice. So, yeah, they have purchase links. I don't see a search box on their site. That's the only thing I'd say. But there might be one. Maybe I missed it. I haven't gotten to every single page. But yeah. So they have educators section here. So yeah, they have again classroom discounts for their editor workshops and stuff. Says Zoom workshops if their editors are available as an add-on option. Again, outlining their workshops and 25% off for groups of 5 to 10, 30. This could change over time, right? Workshop costs and things like that. Just keep that in mind. Even guidelines. So this is just as of September 2025 that I'm sharing this. 35% off for groups of 20 or more. So that's great. So yeah. What else, guys? So yeah, then they have, information on their educators and stuff in the carousel. They have a blog. That's cool. Nice. So they have a blog with interviews and oh yeah, there's the search right there. So there's a search on the blog. And yeah, so they have all kinds of content here, it looks like. Yeah, so they have some, I think maybe the students contribute to this. These interviews and sections. It looks like recent 18 August 18th, September 3rd. Oh yeah, so and that yeah, it says 0% phony and 100% lit. So that's nice. Play on words there in the banner. So yeah, they have a lot of great workshops, guys. I maybe didn't cover every single workshop and stuff, but around the world of poetry, right? If you register, they even have like for this, right? They have it says $50 off the how to be an editor, a literary editor, and the summer editing. So yeah, you can see again, supporter for this one is 179 standard, 149 discount, 119. So yeah, it's a self-paced around the world of poetry in 80 days is a self-paced course for students between age it says here 12 to 18. The course is broken into 80 bite-sized lessons that explore poetry as seen through the eyes of experienced editors and award-winning writers from around the globe. So, yeah, I think they have examples of below of some who have gone through the course and everything. So, let's see their editorial staff, what the pages look like. I'm just curious. So, yeah. It said, oh yeah, I clicked on join their editorial staff. So, it's really great. So, they really yeah, so the cost of training is $99 for this, so I think financial aid is available. So, yeah. Oh, so the around the world the globe poetry one was 149, right? Or let's go back, guys. I'm mixing up the cost here. So, yeah, the that one standard was 149. So, yeah. So, I mixed up the cost for you guys here. So, the how to be a literary editor cost of training is $99 with financial aid available. So just keep that in mind. They have a lot of various workshops and stuff, and the apprenticeship has different. And yeah, so that's still not bad. 99 to 149, or even on the around the world, globe. They have various options here, right? Supporter 179, standard 149, discount 119. Yeah, for this, learn to craft power poetry of writers and editors. So they have options for working with editors, improving your writing, and they also have options for diving in, on into the maybe becoming towards courses towards becoming a junior editor or working on editorial team. How to maybe run your own lit mag or journal one day. Those skills would help you. Any of their workshops or classes or apprenticeships. Yeah, so $99 was accurate on Chill Sub. So I was mixing up stuff. Sorry. There are a lot of workshops and apprenticeships they have. They're very awesome. But yeah, you can read through this. The cost could change over time, guys, totally. But I really think that's not too bad. They seem to offer scholarships too. And I think that's nice. I again have seen lit magazine journals have workshops to really help others, and it also helps them, right? They use the cost or the those who sign up for the workshop, they allocate that to the publication again, the contest, paying writers and all of that, and covering operational expenses. So it helps on both sides, right? They're teaching others, they're helping others, and they're also maybe using that, the training fees and everything, the workshops, right, to put towards the publication to keep it going and to continue some great education opportunities, to continue facilitating more issues, more opportunities for the staff, to get involved in more events and things like that. So I think that's really great. It seems like Polyphony Lit's really about teamwork for sure, and getting others exposed to the literary world as early as possible, right? I think, in high school, in middle school, even, in school, right? Myself, we had nothing, like that per se, in terms of like, sure, we had like field trips where we would have like, there was this field trip I went on once back in school. I know I said I wasn't getting into memories, but we had like this place. I don't remember what they called it, but we would get to go around to various places in the setup, right? There was like a bar, almost not a bar, but like it looked like a one of those milkshake countertop stuff, and then we would like serve others their orders. Almost like we had like jobs, right? Not actual jobs, but learning about the workforce and various jobs. I don't remember what they called that. Anyways, it was fun for sure. They were things where we got to shadow others on field trips. I think, just see what their work was like, and stuff like that. That I recall. Yeah, I mostly went to museums, in middle school and high school, and some field trips and stuff. And from time to time, yeah. Anyways, that's awesome. So let's click on meet their editors here. I think I read off some of the staff. So again, David Galloway is the executive director, and they have the managing director. I probably mispronounced Julian's name, last name here. Ricoban or Ricoban. I apologize. Riccobon. Sean Waterman, operation manager, and then they have social media and outreach assistant, managing directors, teaching assistants. So that's great. And look at this, guys. Now, this is really cool. Look at this editorial team. They have a scrolled list here. That's awesome. So they definitely have a lot of others involved in the publication. It's not just the same people over and over again. They try to get others involved from their courses completion, right? How to, be a literary editor, right? Involved long term with the publication or a little bit further to grow and to, yeah. So yeah, and then it says, since 2023, Polyphony Lit editors have been accepted into the following schools. So that's great. So it actually is giving them something to present to colleges or future, future jobs they may have in the workforce even, and it's so helpful. I think you can put that on your resume, your application, or mention that and say, I went through this course, I did this, I was with Polyphony Lit, and this is all the things we published. This is what I worked on. You can show that to someone, even if you're on a literary journal. Maybe you're not with outside of Polyphony Lit, anyone in general. You can put that on your resume, your work experience. You can say I did this. Now I mentioned those podcasts. Others in my fam, have like mixed thoughts about me, running a literary journal. Some are like, it's rubbish. It doesn't have meaning towards it. It's not really holding any value. It's you're not earning from it or anything like that. Others. I'm trying not to curse on this podcast, but they put it down essentially. Now some have said, yeah, it's hard work, but what are you really getting out of it, right? How are you going to sustain it? All of that stuff long term. Because it's expensive, nevertheless, especially if you don't have like a regular 9 to 5 job or anything, or, things like that. So it's hard. Running a lit magazine journal is hard, and it teaches you a lot of skills. Everyone's experience with the literary journal is a little bit different running it, but we have a lot of similarities and things we run into, right? Editing, we have to edit. We have to, not always. Sometimes a piece is fine as is, and some places leave it as is. But sometimes we have to absolutely make suggestions and say, hey, we have these suggestions for your editing. We just need you to approve these, or do you want to keep some of these lines as is? It's up to ultimately the author, poet, whether they want to move forward with the edits that you have right on their work. And we don't, personally at the Lit Magazine Journal I run, we don't do a lot of like heavy editing on, online publications and print ones. More so, I'd say, with our chapbook series and things like that, we have more, a lot of team editing, proofreading there, and I go over everyone's comments. I add in, towards the end, some additional things I catch. We do the best we can. No one's perfect, but um, having a process in place for editing and combing through and giving feedback, and I think that there's valuable skills there for sure. It is absolutely hard work, and it teaches you some very fundamental skills. And whether you're starting a lit mag journal later in life, maybe you're not in high school, maybe you're like me, like I started Dipty when I was, in my late 20s, right? And I'm 30 now, and I've been running Dipty Lit Mag, since 2022. It's about 3 years now. We hit 3 years this September. And I've learned a lot myself, right? I come from an IT support background, and for sure, there were times I was in tears. I totally was, guys, because I was like, you put a lot of effort into it. So when something goes wrong or something doesn't work out, you're like, oh, why? Why does this happen? We have things that happen with our publication, and we care so much about it because it's part of us. It is something we absolutely love, that we want to keep going. We want to facilitate. And the experience is so valuable, and the memories we have from it are beyond powerful. And if someone doesn't understand, where you're coming from with your literary journal, then that's fine. Not everyone's going to get what you do. But if you're someone who's passionate about writing, arts, literary arts in general, and you're going to work with like-minded people who are just as passionate as you typically, and you can have a lot of great friendships through things like this, apprenticeships, and going through workshops and stuff. You can connect with others, working on a lit mag or journal, right? You can facilitate some really meaningful work experience, or skill sets, right, that you can apply to the future, and maybe starting, as they said, your own lit mag journal, or maybe moving up in their towards their staff, right? And yeah, you have to stick with it. So they give examples, right, that their editors and those who have gone through their courses, who have stayed on, maybe I don't know how long, the editors have stayed on, the average, with Polyphony Lit. But in any case, I think, that's awesome, right? That they showcase that, it is a valuable experience, that they're getting something out of it that they can apply towards their future. And yeah, to say that, literary magazines or journals are not important is like saying like literary arts is meaningless, and that's not true. It has so much value. And there are various roles on the staff of literary magazines and journals. It looks like they have teaching assistants again, right? Not every lit magazine journal has courses or workshops and stuff like that, but it seems like Polyphony Lit has a very good structure and things like that, right? Yeah. So they've been around for quite some time. So you can see again, they have the How to Be a Literary Editor workshop, right? I think again that was $99 base cost, and they offer sometimes scholarships around that, and then the summer apprenticeship, and then Around the World Poetry in 80 Days. That is $149. I mixed that up in the beginning. I apologize, guys. And they have different plans around that again, beyond standard, right? So discount is $119, supporter is $179. So supporter rate, is, it says it allows them. So supporter rate, it says here that it allows them to subsidize a deserving student who cannot afford the full cost. So yeah, that's great. So it's they really strive to help others to really get the opportunity to take, one of their courses, or maybe even yeah, their maybe workshops and things like that. So that's great. Yeah. And it's a self-paced course, guys. So it's not like, you're under like the clock, like you gotta go, you gotta go. But, obviously they have deadlines, I'm sure, and things like that. But it's self-paced. So you have time, right? You have less, maybe self-paced courses, you have a little bit less pressure than some that are like, get it done right away, ASAP at this date or you're out, right? It's not like that. But yeah. So I think that's nice. They got a nice blog here, add your voice, all of that, right? They have a lot of participation, right? Um, and the add your voice thing is, thoughts, advice, jokes, or anything you like to share with Polyphony Lit community, right? You can reach out. So they're very open, it looks like, to comments and things like that. You can donate to them. Let's see what they have. They use, it looks like, Give Butter for donations. And yeah, we had a Give Butter page ourselves, but I moved to a new one recently myself. Raisley. Give Butter's great though. I had, great support of Give Butter. I was just trying to find a different one myself. Every place is a little bit different. So I haven't covered like donation platforms on here, but I feel like maybe that I don't know if I'll cover that. But Give Butter's one, Raisley. There was one I was on Funly for, for a while, but I was like, yeah, Funly got I think acquired or changed acquisition or something, so that's no longer present, I think. So that's why I moved. I was gonna move back to Give Butter, but I'm not sure. I'm on Raisley right now, and it seems to be great too. I think it has similarities, of course, to Give Butter. So yeah, that's nice. Everything's very organized on their site overall, and I apologize again mixing up some of the workshop cost and stuff. So I think I was just confused by the carousel I saw. I saw 149. I was like, what? I didn't know they had all these other workshops and apprenticeships and stuff and around the world of poetry in 80 days. I think that's really nice. I love that movie, by the way, guys, Around the World in 80 Days. Jackie Chan, right? That film was so fun to me. I know I don't think it got the highest rating in the world, but it was so LOL, right? Really liked it. If you've never seen it, watch that movie, guys. Watch it. Do I have it? I feel like I made a poem around the world something. I had this project that I went to a fair once. It was like a science fair that I presented, but not really because it was in a building outside of school in an event I participated in. So I created the Around the World ball catcher. It was like I mentioned this on the podcast maybe. It was like a double-ended two cups, right? Like plastic red cups, end to end joined, and then I had a connect set which I set up a structure like to facilitate that, and I taped it around or secured the cups to the top, and I used the motor of the Connect set, right, to spin the cups, and then the game would be it was just a basic game. Like others would throw the try to get the score points. I had a point system with the ping pong ball. They would try to like catch it, you have it caught, and stuff. It was like almost like inventing a toy or something. I don't know, guys. It was kind of fun. But anyways, yeah. I don't know what year that movie was, Around the World, with Jackie Chan in it and that other actor. What was it? It was so LOL though. That movie. 2004, guys. Yeah, that's what it was. 2004. If you never watched Around the World in 80 Days, totally, guys, you got to. And yeah, I think it had Steve Coogan and yeah, Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan was Pospa 2 or something, right? That movie was so LOL. But it was a lot of fun, I think, some of it for sure. And yeah. Anyways, I may be losing my voice a little bit here, but I wanted to cover Polyphony Lit. Again, they have a duotrope page, and you can see here. It says published 3 times per year. Again, some of these things can change. Again, this is an accurate duotrope. It says temp close, right? Duotrope updates this, various points of the year. They do checks, so always verify with the site itself on openings, right? They are open again. If you go out to their submittable page, right? And even just like submit section, they have those open calls I showed you, right? So yeah, and then see the apprenticeship pops up. That's the pop I was telling you guys about. So yeah, in this carousel, I think I accidentally was looking. Sorry, guys. If I scroll here, yeah, this is where I was. I read this self-paced course 149, and then I was like, oh, and then I was like, yeah, so I mixed that up. So just keep in mind, guys, they have different, courses and workshops here. So I was just mixing the two up. I'm so sorry, Polyphony Lit, for doing that. But yeah, you can see here their How to Be a Literary self-paced course is 99. That is correct on Chill Subs. And then they have that other Around the World, poetry. Yeah. Yeah, they have that one. Around the World of Poetry in 80 Days, right? So you get to connect with a global community of peers and readers again, and then yeah. So it says open to age 14, 18 there. Let me just double check. I just want to verify, guys, because I'm trying to remember details. So yeah, I don't know if this is the thing that I'm not sure. So it says here age 12 to 18, and then I think there it says 14, 18. I don't know if that's a typo or not. I don't know. You can always, I don't know if that's a typo or not, but you can of course ask and reach out if you're ever not sure about something. in terms of like that and scholarships and stuff and how all that works, and having, they have discounted options too. But it looks like they really try to help others who are really interested in joining the, one of their classes or workshops or lectures, right? They absolutely, it looks like they strive to help others. I love seeing, lit magazine journals that really are focusing on that, workshops and events. We don't have anything like that at Dippity, but I had thought to myself, it'd be cool if we had workshops, or I don't know if anyone would be interested if I held workshops or hosted events. This is not really my the series I'm doing. It's not necessarily a workshop, but it's me just sharing and doing knowledge exchange, like things I come across. I don't know everything. I learn things by going on lit magazine journal sites too myself. I saw that really cool. um Again, they have this I think what's really cool, again, that aside from the workshops and this was a really cool thing that they had here, right? The earned service hours, volunteers, spread the word. I haven't seen lit magazine journals do this marketing type of setup, right? Earned service hours, do a social media post, share in your classroom, share us with a teacher or librarian, right? Like our existence, Polyphony Lit, right? Get others to sign up or register for a workshop, and you'll be entered to win, a gift card. So I like seeing things like that. I think Polyphony Lit does a good job, being very diverse in terms of offering workshops, events, and the courses here, right? How to be a literary editor, again, HTBLE, the summer editing apprenticeship, SEA, around the world of poetry in 80 days, right? So yeah, it says 12 to 18 there. I don't know. I think I could be wrong, guys. 14, 18 in the other place, but you could always verify if you ever see something like that. I think that's accurate though, for the around the world of poetry in 80 days. Yeah, but for submissions, it was saying 14, 18, years of age, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. This is the Claudia Ann Awards, right? They have this, and some lit magazine journals have awards that they create. So if you're the founding editor of a lit magazine journal and you want to make your own award or contest event, each year, go for it. Totally, you can set one up. If you want to dedicate it to someone, it could be a friend or family or a loved one. Go for it. Totally. Yeah. So that's all I can think of. Just sharing, guys, real quick. So I'll go back to Polyphony Lit's home here. Um, I think the first, again, the first magazine, I mentioned this on the podcast, I ever, posted work to, was Teen Ink magazine. I don't know if I'm ever going to do an episode on Teen Ink magazine, right? If you've never gone on there, check it out. But they have, poetry, and I think they did an issue on Poetry Month too. And they have their issues digitally available too, I think on issu.com, so you could read through that if you're interested. But yeah, so it's awesome what Polyphony Lit does. They have print issues, they have contests, they have workshops, they have a course, right, for others. They're really doing that whole knowledge exchange and sharing, for creating, essentially, creating an environment of learning, right? I think that's so important, getting early exposure to the literary arts world, to editing, poetry, to the importance of it, because I think a lot of people, people I've come in contact with, personally, they think it's silly, right? But it's actually very valuable. It is. The skills you pick up, the skills you may strengthen. Maybe you already have some editing skills, but I think when you're in high school and around that age and time, that's really a great opportunity for you to soak in knowledge, to really have the stepping stones there, to take some courses, workshops is a great way to do that. Um, while I was not a part of any apprenticeship program or anything like that, I was, for 2 summers, part of a program, GEMS, Girls in Engineering, Mathematics, and Science. Again, sorry guys, I may have cut out there briefly. I had to reload my page. But yeah, so there was this pop-up that came up again. So winter editing apprenticeship, December 27th, 2025, January 16th to 2026, that Polyphony Lit has. Says register by November 1st for early bird bonuses, limited availability. So yeah, again, that apprenticeship, and they have the age requirements, right? Yeah, so you can check it out again. So it says here, right, on this workshop you're writing, explore how poetry, I have to go back, sorry guys. explore how poetry intersects with STEM, history, and art. So yeah, that girls and entering mathematics and science program I was a part of, not in middle school or high school per se, but in elementary, age, in fourth grade and fifth grade, if I recall. So it was an after school program. We would have Lego League, robotics, right? Like getting set up or learning for the tournament, right? Programming the robots, trying to figure out different challenges, creating extensions for the robots, on wheels and all of that. And yeah, I think some of the tasks were like trying to get, almost like have the robot almost like the robot's doing a basketball shot itself, like, and transporting various things. These have different themes in the tournament. That was pretty cool. I think one time it was like pollution or anti-pollution, environmental impact challenges and stuff. So a lot of fun. I think back then, in terms of, it may still exist, but those yellow Lego lead bricks, they also had. I never saw the competitions of this, but I saw elsewhere online and stuff. There was like climbing robots where they had the robots climb up a wall, right, with various extensions or arms. It's pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, I never forgot that. I ended up doing 2 summers at Augsburg College, like an extension of that program that you had to apply, write a letter of interest, and get into. And yeah, there were a lot of great events there. Again, I may share this on the podcast. Sorry if it's a repeat, but it was so memorable and impactful. I, did Lego League robotics there again. We had different events and challenges. I think for one of the summers, my team was out mostly. One was out sick, another was away, and so it was just me trying to figure things out for a little bit. But yeah, it was fun. There was a Mars landscape, almost life size like that. We had a floor that Augsburg College let us use to sculpt it, paint it, and all of that. Very cool. And then we had soldering, learned how to solder, built a doorbell circuit alarm, so if the door opens, right, it triggers the alarm, the door circuit. So we learned how to, melt the wiring and join wires together and make circuits with, soldering. And I was really scared. Thought I was going to burn my fingers or something, but it was a lot of fun. We didn't always do, sort of sciencey stuff. Sometimes we just like, we learned like one time to play cribbage and stuff, some fun activities during our breaks and stuff. And we had various speakers and, got exposure to various things, during that summer program and those weeks. So it was pretty cool, to be on the Augsburg College campus and see that. We even did some fun stuff like monarch butterfly tent stuff, enclosures, sitting among the butterflies, and even going out locally right by Augsburg College to get milkweed, like from the football practice fence. And yeah, so I never forgot those things. Um, so whether it be something like I did, right, a summer program, or even like an internship, like I did an IT internship, right, no matter what you do, like if you do an apprenticeship, even with Polyphony Lit or another place, maybe, even there are various bite-sized courses like one-day events or a couple weeks, whatever you do, it is, but you're surely, I'm saying, to have a learning experience from that, to learn from it, to see what it's really like. There are different courses outside of Policing Lit, obviously around the world, places hold. I share in this podcast where you can find writers workshops, more events, and not necessarily within this specific age range, 14 to 18, right, that they have here. I think the other one said 12 to 18, right? Or it could be wrong. But anyways, for high school students, 14 to 18, right? And yeah, so just know that there are a lot of opportunities available to you that if you're listening to this and you're a young writer or a writer of any age, right? Again, I shared you can take some workshops, some courses if you want to improve your writing, if you want to maybe start your own lit mag journal, become an editor, if you're interested in that world, right? You can start at any age, really, you can. I think the earlier the better, again, to get exposure to that. So I really like that Polyphony Lit strives to teach others, right, what it's really like, and give them insight into the world as much as possible in a bite-sized course, right? And training and all of that, right? I think that's so important, right, to share the importance of it, right? Yeah, so I think workshops again are another great way for lit mags and journals to sustain themselves further, for funds, for things like that. I think Polyphony Lit also is a member, if I recall, of CLMP, right? So the community of literary magazine presses. So that could entail, I don't know about whether they provide contributor copies of issues or give discounts on issues or how that works. Maybe it's on their site somewhere, but I do recall coming across their CLMP page. And if you're not sure what that is, I covered, I think in episode 15, CLMP or the benefits of that membership. And maybe I'll do a coverage screen share of CLMP in the future. We'll see here. But yeah, in either case, I think education is so important. Of course, right? Absolutely. Um, of course, I shared on the podcast some places that offer, some sit-in events you can attend. Chill Subs, just a reminder, they have a great event list and workshops and classes too, virtually Zoom calls and stuff that are fairly reasonable. Like I think under $100 too, if you're ever interested, and sitting on those. So many opportunities out there again, thanks to technology. I say that a lot on this podcast. It's not a tech podcast per se, but I cover some software services and systems that are used in the lit mag world and community. So I guess, yeah, it's bound to come up over time and time again. So yeah, I really love what Polyphony Lit is doing overall. I know this was a very long episode, but they have a lot for sure. They have workshops, the print issues. They really seems to be geared towards focusing on education and helping others. Courses, all of that, facilitating that. A staff to oversee all of this. It costs money, right? Nothing is entirely free to run or keep up and running. The website, all of that, the issues, and all of that. So it's to be expected that there's some cost associated with courses, classes, and training. Of course, there are typically, again, as I said, scholarships, discounts available for most places, or fee waivers, requests and stuff like that. Polyphony Lit, right, is showing, it's free to submit to. They have that additional fee on some contests, right? Very small. It's not like 10, 20, 30, 40, $50. Keep in mind contest fees, workshop fees, courses, what you see as of, today may change in the future for some places I've covered on this podcast in terms of fees and amounts. So this is just as of September 2025. Yeah, but I would say, I can't submit to Polyphony Lit myself because I'm in my 30s, right? But if I was a high school student, way back in high school, and I saw Polyphony Lit and came across them, I'd be like, yeah, this looks very cool. They have some really great workshops, training, and resources, and I totally would have back then submitted to them, myself, if and all of that, and maybe even explored some of their the course and things like that. So and it's not absolutely necessary to take a course, but I think it can be very helpful and insightful. Like if you don't know where to start, you don't know where to go. And the same thing with like the CLMP membership, Community of Literary Magazine Presses. If you're going to start your own Lit Mag journal and you have a lot of questions and you don't know where to go, right? CLMP has a great like knowledge exchange between editors going on, a lot of great discussions, and you can, ask questions and stuff. They have a lot of resources on their site. So yeah, but I think a course, at an early age, or classes, essentially, I think education is so important, and it's a great learning experience. It can really give you insight into whether it's something you really want to go into. Maybe you want to enter the publication world or publishing, or become, do it full time yourself one day, or, maybe you find there are several avenues and career paths in the publishing world. That's not necessarily what I was seeking to do with the Lit Mag journal I started or anything like that. I come from a tech background, IT support, and all of that. So it was more so I had a bunch of life events come up unexpectedly, and I wanted to, take what I was doing with the podcasting, right, when I started my first podcast, and expand upon that, and starting a lit mag journal. I saw these lit magazine journals. I was like, yeah, I've submitted to these places, but I wonder what it'd be like to start one and to see how it could evolve. And I'm surprised by how Dipty Lit Mag and has evolved, Dipty overall. So yeah, it's so inspiring to see, lit magazine journals really foster education, the importance of it, and training and resources. I don't know, again, guys, if I ever would do whole workshops or stuff, if you guys would want to attend and stuff. This podcast is just a resource of sharing places, and that catch my eye, that, just to share different structures that lit magazine journals have. I wanted to put the focus on Polyphony Lit because, again, they focus on high school students. So there are several other, not just several other, but several hundreds. I think there's even like a contest that I can't remember off the top of my head, but a contest for lit magazine journals that are student run or by high school students or teens, even, I think, out there, that is a yearly thing too. I don't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think I saw several hundreds listed or things like that too. Like, they're more than what's listed, I think, on chill subs, but eventually that'll grow totally as, others, have the listings in there and the database grows, right? But it's awesome. It's awesome to see, others showcase, based off their site, what I'm seeing, interest in the literary magazine world, right? I think if other young writers see that, they're like, hey, I want to see what it's like on an editorial team. I want to see what it's like running a lit manga journal. I wonder what goes into that, right? So they have a course, they have a team, they have fellow others who have gone through maybe the course and all of that stuff, right? And the training. And it's a really great experience. On the site, you'll see testimonials, things like that. Earlier in the impact report, I think I saw, I could be wrong on the percentage, but I think it showed 76% or something like that. Said that the course, or it could have been the course or workshop, benefited them, and they learned more from that than what they did in, let's say, what was from a class, a general class at maybe their school, right? So it seems to be in depth. I've never, of course, I haven't taken any of Polyphony Lit's courses or anything like that, right? But I think it's a good to be aware of, like, again, that lit magazine journals, they do facilitate workshops, education, training courses. Another place I know that does workshops besides chill subs, that platform and stuff, or find lit magazine journal stuff, there is, I think, Only Poems also has workshops, events. There's several others out there, countless ones. So I think it's a great way to learn, to grow. There are ones, right, that are not, again, not just for high school students, but are at any age. So if you're interested in, sharpening your skills or something, it may be worthwhile to invest, as I said on this podcast, a course, right? So I shared, I think, somewhere in this podcast, some other places where you can discover some courses, virtual workshops, and stuff like that. Just some ones that I'm aware of. I mentioned the Loft Literary Center, right, has some virtual events and things like that too, and even on site, right? Um, Countless others are out there. You just have to do some digging, some searching. You'll come across them. But there are some, absolutely, again, some databases where you can discover that, and it's very, organized, easy to find too. But yeah, all in all, Polyphony Lit, I love what they're doing in terms of the courses, workshops there, especially because I think not every place does that, or the feedback. And yeah, so it's, I think, a great structure that they seem to have. I have no experience against submitting them myself, so I can't really share a submitter experience or what the feedback letter entails or all of that stuff. But I think, it's nice that they absolutely strive to give feedback and to help fellow, young writers, right? And high school students, because I think they'll absolutely, carry that experience with them, whether it be submitting or getting that feedback, right? They can leverage that to improve their work, to grow again. So that's all. I know this is super long, but I just wanted to talk about it and cover it. So again, take care, guys, and have awesome days ahead. Yeah.